This episode is provided by Thomas Allgaier and Franos, based on the most relevant LinkedIn posts about go-to-market in calendar weeks 6 and 7. Franos is a B2B market research company helping enterprises gain the customer, competitive, and positioning insights needed to drive GTM success.
Welcome back to the deep dive. We are looking at a really specific slice of time today, weeks 6 and 7 of 2026.
Right, just 2 weeks.
Just 2 weeks. And if I had to boil down the vibe on LinkedIn during that time, it would be this. B2B marketing is no longer about art. It's about engineering.
Engineering. That sounds a little cold, doesn't it? I mean, we usually talk about engaging content and brand voice, but you're saying the conversation shifted to, wrenches and blueprints?
In a way, yeah. The sources we're seeing aren't talking about random acts of marketing anymore. You post a video and just hope it goes viral.
The spray and pray approach.
Exactly. They're talking about building a machine, a system where the inputs and outputs are, predictable.
Okay, building a machine sounds great in theory, but usually that just means buying more software that nobody ends up using.
So before we get too cynical, what's the evidence? What's the first signal that things are actually changing?
The biggest signal is, believe it or not, a job title.
A job title.
It's the rise of the GTM engineer.
GTM engineer. Okay, I've seen this popping up, but I have to ask. Is this just a fancy rebrand for marketing operations?
I thought that too at first.
The person who manages the email list gets a new title and suddenly a pay raise.
Well, it's actually distinct, and the market is valuing it very differently. Majavoje flagged this. She noted that GTM engineer is the fastest growing role in B2B right now.
How fast are we talking?
We're seeing 205% year-over-year growth, and the salary isn't entry-level either. It's averaging around $127,500.
Okay, 205% growth is.
Right.
That's hard to ignore. But going back to my skepticism, what does a GTM engineer actually do that a RevOps person doesn't? Alessandro Fiammingo had a really sharp definition on this. He argues that traditional RevOps is often about reporting, looking backward at what happened.
Right, dashboards and charts.
A GTM engineer is about infrastructure. Think of it as the plumbing of revenue.
The plumbing of revenue, I like that.
Right. Alessandro points out it's not sales and it's not marketing, it's the layer that connects them. So instead of a marketer manually downloading a CSV of leads and emailing it to a sales rep,
which takes like 2 days,
at least, a GTM engineer builds a script where a pricing page visit triggers an alert in the CRM instantly. It connects the technology, the data, and the process.
So they're the ones making the tools talk to each other. Okay, but here's the problem I see with that title. Engineer implies you need to be really technical.
For sure.
But go-to-market implies you need to understand sales psychology. Danny Kim pointed out that companies are trying to hire unicorns right now.
Oh, the job descriptions are impossible.
Right. Danny says companies want someone who is like a third developer, a third marketer, and a third sales rep. That person does not exist.
And if they do, they're founding their own company, not coming to work for you.
Exactly.
And Danny notes the failure mode here is usually that you hire a developer who can connect the API, but, they can't write a coherent email to save their life.
Or you hire a marketer who tries to edit the code and breaks the entire database.
Right. That's the other side of it.
So what's the fix?
Yeah.
If we can't hire this mythical wizard, do we just give up?
No, you stop looking for a superhero. Danny's solution is to build feedback loops. Let the technical person build the system, but force them to actually sit with the sales team to understand what converts. It's about collaboration, not finding one person to do it all.
Speaking of technical people, though, I saw a source from Benjamin that, honestly, it terrified me a little bit. He's talking about using GitHub for marketing logic.
I had a feeling you'd catch that one.
Wait a second. GitHub? That's for software developers. It's where you store code. Why on earth would a marketing team need a GitHub repository? Are CMOs supposed to learn how to commit code now?
It sounds super intimidating, I get it. But think about the problem we just discussed. If you are building this complex machine, the system of automated emails and lead routing, what happens when it breaks?
You panic.
You panic.
Yeah.
And usually, you don't know what broke it. Did someone change a setting in the email tool? Did they mess with the lead scoring criteria?
Right.
Benjamin's point is that GTM logic, the rules that run your business, should be treated like software. You store it in a repository so you have version control.
So if I completely mess up the lead routing, I can just
roll it back. Exactly. It signals a shift from marketing as a creative thing to engineering as a systematic one. You aren't just doing stuff, you're deploying logic.
Okay, I can see the value in that, even if the learning curve is steep. But if we're building this machine, we need parts. We need tools. And this brings us to the second big theme from those weeks, the GTM stack. And thank goodness the trend seems to be less is more.
It really is. For a while, the trend was buy everything. Now people like Aislib S and Jack Mercer are pushing for what we might call the magic four. You really only need about 4 core tools to run a massive B2B operation.
The magic four. Okay, I have the list here. Let's walk through it because I think you need to understand how they fit together. It's not just a random list. It starts with the brain, right?
Right. The brain is Clay. In this modern stack, you don't just buy a static list of leads anymore. You use Clay to find data, but also to enrich it. It's the operating system that decides who to talk to.
Okay, so Clay finds the person. Then you have the execution layer.
That's your tools like Salesforce or Lemlist. This is the hands and mouth of the operation. It's what sends emails, sends the DMs.
Then you need a memory, a place to store it all.
That's the modern CRM. ADIO is the one getting all the buzz right now. Unlike Salesforce, which can feel like this clunky database from the 90s, ADIO is built for this kind of high-velocity data.
And finally, the ears.
The ears. Trigify.io. This is for social listening. It picks up on signals like someone commenting on a competitor's post, and it feeds that right back to the brain, to Clay.
So the whole workflow is, Trigify hears a signal, Clay enriches it and finds the email, ADIO records it, and Salesforce sends the message.
Precisely. And that connectivity is the key. Ivan Falco and Marco Stu both made the point that teams don't fail because they picked the wrong tool.
Right.
They fail because they create isolated islands. If your ears hear a signal but your brain never gets the memo, the opportunity is just dead.
And Elliot O'Connor backed this up too, referencing Everett Barry. It's just CRM, Clay, dialer, sequencer. That's it. Simple. But let's talk brass tacks, money. Because usually when we talk tech stack, CFOs start sweating.
This is the best part. It's actually incredibly lean. Marco Strom-Katigbak outlined a stack using Apollo, Clay, SmartLead, HubSpot, and 8N that costs about $3,000 a month.
$3,000 a month for the entire motion.
The entire end-to-end motion.
That's not bad for an enterprise.
Yeah.
But Jacopo Tellini went even lower. He claimed his stack is cheaper than a gym membership.
I loved that comparison. He's using Apollo's free tier, Gmail, and Google Sheets.
Wait, can you actually build a pipeline with Google Sheets and a free account? Is that real?
You can if you focus on relevance over volume.
Yeah.
His point, and it's a vital one, is that if you spend the time to research 10 prospects deeply, you can outperform a bot spamming 10,000 people. You just don't need expensive tools to be relevant.
That's a good reality check.
Yeah.
But a lot of people do want to spam 10,000 people, or at least they want to automate the work. Which brings us to our third theme, AI and automation. But let's look beyond the hype here. We are not talking about ChatGPT writing a poem.
No, we're talking about heavy lifting. Cody Schneider posted a crash course on using Claude Code.
For those who don't know, what is Claude Code? Is that different from just talking to the chatbot?
It is. It's a capability where you can actually run code via the AI. Cody used it to bulk create infrastructure. We're talking about generating hundreds of Facebook ads, dozens of landing pages, and 100 SEO blog posts in a single sprint.
That is both terrifying and impressive. I mean, that's scale that used to require a 20-person agency.
Oh, absolutely. And Benjamin Lyons shared a similar example using N.
Okay, we've mentioned N8 a few times. Let's pause and explain it. What is NNN?
Think of it as the glue. It's a workflow automation tool, kind of like Zapier, but it's node-based and way more powerful for complex logic. Benjamin released 20 workflows that he claims can replace a $150,000 RevOps team.
$150,000 team replaced by a piece of software. That's the headline.
It is. He's automating LetOps, cold email sequences, pipeline management. I mean, all of it just running in the background.
But wait, if everyone uses Claude to write their blogs and NN to send their emails, aren't we just flooding the world with even more garbage?
That is the danger. And Julian Templesman warned about exactly this. He says, AI email writers are becoming commodities. If I can generate a personalized email in 1 second, and so can you, the value of that email just drops to zero.
So what's the defense? How do you stand out?
Judgment. The moat is no longer the ability to write, it's the ability to know what to write. Spencer Parikh made a distinction here that I think is brilliant. He separates AI into deterministic and dynamic systems.
Okay, let's break that down. Deterministic versus dynamic.
Deterministic is for rules. Routing a lead. Checking for compliance. If a lead comes from Germany, route it to the German team. You don't want an AI getting creative with that.
Right.
You want it to follow the rule every single time.
You definitely don't want an autonomous agent deciding, you know what? I feel like sending this German lead to the Brazil team today.
Exactly. That's where you use deterministic systems. But then you have dynamic or agentic systems. These are for things that require adaptation, like drafting a reply to a complex question or researching a prospect's recent news. Spencer's takeaway is, don't use agents for everything. You don't need autonomy to route a lead.
That's really helpful guidance. It's about using the right brain for the job. And speaking of brains, Jeff Ignacio even suggested treating the LLMs themselves like a tech stack.
Yes. He says stop using one model for everything. Use Claude for research and nuance. It's great at reading long documents like 10K reports. But for data classification, use Gemini or a GPT-4o Mini because they are way cheaper and faster.
So don't use the expensive, thoughtful genius to organize your filing cabinet.
You got it.
Okay, so we've covered the engineer role, the lean stack, and these automation workflows, but I feel like we're missing the most important part. I mean, you can have the best car in the world, but if you don't know where you're driving, you're just going to crash faster.
That brings us to strategy and foundations. And honestly, this was the most critical part of the content from weeks 6 and 7. The theme here is basically, don't automate a bad process.
TK Cater had a great framework for this. He used the Charlie Munger method of inversion.
I love inversion. Instead of asking, how do we succeed, you flip it and ask, how do we guarantee failure?
So according to TK, how do we guarantee our GTM fails?
3 easy ways. First, target everyone. Confuse your total addressable market with your ideal customer profile. If you try to sell to everyone, you sell to no one.
Classic mistake. What's second?
Second, let ChatGPT write your generic strategy. Just pure, unedited AI slop. And third, and this one hurts, hire an agency before you have product market fit.
Ouch. That's the outsourcing the problem strategy. I don't know how to sell this, so I'll pay someone else to figure it out for me.
And it never works. You have to know the motion before you can scale it. Alexander Essner added to this with what he calls the translation problem.
This one really resonated with me. He's talking about how the strategy stays stuck in the CEO's head, right?
Or in some internal Notion doc. You have this brilliant strategy document, but then you look at the website or the sales deck, and it's just generic fluff. The strategic positioning never translated into the actual market-facing assets.
And when that translation fails, deals stall. Achim Clor had a stat that just blew me away. 60% of lost deals aren't lost to competitors.
They are lost to inertia. No decision. The customer just stays with the status quo.
That is the real enemy. It's not the competitor, it's the customer just doing nothing. So how do we fight inertia? Dewey Wester brought up a framework called SPICE-D.
Yes, SPICE-D. It stands for situation, pain, impact, critical event, and decision.
Walk us through that. How does an acronym help me actually close a deal?
It forces you to find the driver. Most reps stop at pain. Oh, your current software is slow. That's too bad. But SPICE pushes you to impact and critical event.
So not just the what, but the so what.
Exactly. Why does it matter that the software is slow? Is it costing you money? Is there a board meeting next month where you need to show results?
Ah, I see. So the critical event is the deadline that forces the decision. Without that, you just get inertia.
You get inertia. And Dow suggests using structured customer interviews to dig for this SPICE-D data and feeding it right into that CRM we talked about earlier.
And B. John Henry offered a technical way to help with this too. He talked about using tools like RB2B.
RB2B is a de-anonymization tool. It tells you who from which companies is visiting your website. Bijan's point is that funnels need better systems. If you know a specific prospect is reading your pricing page, you can take a sniper approach. You don't have to blast 1,000 emails.
You just need to reach out to that one person.
With a message that's relevant to what they were literally just looking at.
And that brings us full circle, right back to that engineering mindset. It's not about volume, it's about precision.
Precisely.
So we've unpacked a lot today. The rise of the GTM engineer, the Magic 4 stack, the need for human judgment in AI, and the absolute necessity of a spiced-it-up strategy. If you take one thing away from this deep dive, what should it be?
I think the takeaway is that tools like Clay, N8N, and Claude are incredibly powerful, but they're just amplifiers. If your strategy is solid, they will amplify your success. But if your strategy is muddy, if you don't know who your ICP is or why they buy, automation will just help you fail faster and more efficiently than ever before.
That is a sobering thought. Failing at the speed of AI.
It is. The winners in 2026 won't just be the ones with the best tech stack. They'll be the ones who use that stack to deliver a message that feels uniquely human and relevant.
Be the architect, not just the operator. I love that.
Exactly. And, here's a final provocative thought for everyone to mull over. If everyone has access to the same Magic 4 stack, and everyone has access to the same LLMs, where does the real differentiation come from next year? I suspect the battleground is shifting back to things that can't be automated: trust, brand, and deep domain expertise.
The more robots we have, the more valuable the humans become.
I really believe so.
If you enjoyed this episode, new episodes drop every 2 weeks. Also, check out our other editions on account-based marketing, field marketing, channel marketing, MarTech, social selling, and AI and B2B marketing. Thanks for diving in with us. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Catch you then.